So, news just in. Justin Timberlake has announced that he'll be joining the war effort in Ukraine. Reports are saying he's going to be stationed somewhere near Crimea River.
Oh, God's sake.
Yeah, I found out this week you can't run through a campsite. You have to ran. It's because you went past tense. Oh God!
No, stop
yes,
there.
Yes,
stop.
No. Do you think all national
No, we'll
anthems...
dig our way out.
We shall dig our way out. I know there's a stout heart amongst you. Do you think all national anthems are technically country music? I had an out-of-body experience the other day. I was beside myself.
My God, he won't stop.
I went to see.
He's on a rampage.
I went to see a hypnotist show. I really enjoyed it, which made me suspicious. Oh God! Someone threw a bottle of omega-3 pills at me. Luckily, my injuries are only superficial.
God, make it stop.
Never. Oh, God. Anyway, and of course, a communist joke isn't funny until everyone gets it. Have to think about that one.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking far away from the microphone at the moment. That's all it is.
It's fine. I changed all my passwords to
Oh, my
Kenny.
God.
Now I have loads of Kenny logins.
Carry on, you're going to hit my danger zone.
Danger zone. Anyway, right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Black Dog episode 83. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Lee. I'm not. I'm Jim. I'm lost.
I've lost my
I'm
mind.
broken.
I'm Lee, and so's my wife.
I'm exhausted.
Yes, hello everyone. And this week we will be working our way through the apocalyptic landscape of World War III to get to you and to see how everyone's week's been and get some feedback if there's any around, and then go on to our film this week, which was Master and Commander: Far Side of the World.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! I know there's not a stout heart amongst you. I'm going to talk all like this. Yes. Get on the sails, boys.
I think we should all talk like this today.
Yes.
Splice me main brace and timber me shivers.
Yeah. This has happened the second time he's done this to me, and there will not be a third. Anyway, so... Yes.
Knock on wood, spin around.
Look, jump 3 times.
What say you, sir?
And here we go. What is it with this man? Did I kill a relative of his in battle? His boy? God forbid. Anyway, so we'll get to that soon enough, I'm sure. But first, let's find out how everyone's week's been. And we'll start with you, Jim. How's it been, sir?
Mainly this week I have been ignoring the end of the world.
Yay!
Resisting the urge to revisit threads and other things that now aren't science fiction.
Good Lord.
Oh, God.
But
Yeah.
there's been mainly fairly quiet, keeping my head down, painting myself white to avoid the nuclear blast, that kind of shit.
No. If that happens, I want to go underneath it and catch it. I want the last thing anyone sees on the CCTV to be me standing in the middle of the road going, "Come on in!"
I'll take the law you on.
Yeah, put the keys in your fists and make them count.
I want to see some windmilling. No, mate, this week, sorry, this is a bit deja vu to other people's weeks previously, but we cracked open the large canister of blood and poor-taste humour that is called the Peacemaker.
Awesome.
Excellent.
We started off, we watched the James Gunn Suicide Squad, which I had not not seen. And we did thoroughly enjoy that. I mean, Teresa isn't a big... She is to... she's the martial law of superhero movies, basically.
Right, yeah.
doesn't really have a lot of time for them. But if she likes one, that's a sign it's a good one.
Yep.
And she absolutely loved it. And so we're now halfway through the Peacemaker series, and it's kind of, mustn't binge it all in one night. Mustn't.
Do you
But
want
we
to
are
taste it?
thoroughly enjoying it.
And are you, like everyone else and myself included, physically unable to get past the intro?
Yes.
You can't bring yourself to skip past it.
No.
Oh, no. I mean, a few years ago, we'd got to the absolute nadir of opening sequences, which was kind of half a jingle and the words flash framed up in like a subliminal message style.
Yeah.
Where now you have this, which is just Disco Galactic.
And you know what? Each one of those moves has a meaning as well.
I was beginning to suspect that, actually. And it's kind of, I'm not looking
Go.
online just yet, but...
Well, when you finish the series, go look it up, right? And it kind of does, the actual theme tune takes on a different kind of meaning for every single episode.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I
but
suspected that might be the case. Very good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is good. Cool. So Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, awesome. Well, that's there's worse ways to spend a week, that's for sure.
Absolutely. There was so much needed deep belly laughs in situations. Maybe I shouldn't be laughing at that, but that was fucking funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Eagly and the was it the Eagly and the Vigilante are my two favourites. Just his absolute complete lack of sense and just complete psychopath. Gonna cut your toe off now. All right then.
He got upset because he has feelings like I don't.
I think Vigilante has one of the best scenes in it as well. But when he goes to deal with a problem. I'm not going to say anything, but it's just fantastically. It's just really well done, really well scripted.
Yeah, it's really funny.
The thing is, with both that and Suicide, I think James Gunn's very good at writing misfits. But I think what he's done with the Suicide Squad movie in this series, he sort of took that same misfits with a heart thing, but took it a bit further because there is actually some serious shit going on underneath all the dick jokes and the splatter in this. And I think he actually has a lot to say about how people get fucked over, particularly by their own families.
Yep, definitely.
And so I say it is it's a very clever series, and it's kind of like, yep. Oh, yeah, well, he's come a long way as James Gunn from the days of Super and the like.
Yeah.
And people keep giving him more truckloads of money. It's kind of, this is good. This is a good thing about this world. For a minute, I was frightened. I was living in a world that was set up purely for Ed Sheeran's benefit, because that's the only explanation for his success. But
we're living in the Ed Sheeran matrix.
Yeah, the fact that Ed Sheeran's big is definite proof that this world is a concoction probably done by the devil in some sell your soul deal Sheeran did.
Is it? Do you take the blue pill or the red-headed pill? Is that what it is? Yes.
It could well be. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. It is proof positive that we are living in the darkest of timelines. Cool. Anything else, sir? Or
no, I think I'll leave that there.
Lovely. Oh, that's cool. Lovely. And what about you then, Elton? Where are you, sir? What's your week been like?
What's my week been like? I had my ECG this week.
Okay.
No results yet, though, but that was much quicker than what I was expecting it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'd be sitting down for at least 20 minutes on a machine going boop, boop, boop. Nope, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost as if the nurse had put all these little tabs all over my body, and by the time she'd hooked it all up to the computer, sat down in the chair.
She was so overcome with sexual arousal that she just had to sort of leave it for a bit, did she?
It does happen, I'm afraid. I can't help it.
Poor you, man.
The music went on. It was, all that malarkey.
It was like a fucking Pepsi advert. Da 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 da.
No, but by the time she got all these bits and bobs on me, it was time to take them all off again. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was. It was very quick, and I was very disappointed by the end of it.
So
much like the average Pornhub video.
So I await the results.
Right.
Yeah, I've been feeling better today. Much like everyone else, can't believe what the hell's going on in the world. And when that all kicked off on Thursday, it's definitely down to stress, because I felt that cramp right up in my chest. I was like, oh no, I can physically feel that.
Yeah. Just
tightening. And it was due to the stress. It's just I could not believe it. So yes. What else? I had Lee Harvey crash over for a couple of nights as well.
And that's when the palpitations really kicked in.
They really kicked in then, yes. And we took a trip to Rendlesham Forest to see where the aliens landed in 1980.
What? Go on.
No, aliens landed in 1980.
Did they?
Have you? Yeah. You must have heard of the Rendlesham Forest incident.
Surprisingly enough, no.
Really?
No, I've never heard of it. Hold on, I'm literally Googling it right now.
Oh no, it's huge. It's huge. Apparently, aliens landed in the forest, and there's recordings of people going out and speaking about it into their like dictaphone type things, and it's all on the internet, and there's been many programs made about this.
I just typed in Rendlesham Forest, and I've got park run, camping, walk, parking, cycling,
dogging is us,
glamping, bike hire, woodland walks, and dogs.
Yep.
Dogging.
And dogging.
Dogging. Yeah. You sure that was Lee's intention?
Well, there were 2 hours of my life missing.
Yeah.
And I was very sore as well.
Did he give you a sort of like a fairly tasteless drink, and you woke up very relaxed?
Here, drink this.
This doesn't smell like Novichok.
Oh no, I found it on the BBC. The BBC. Yeah. Rendlesham Forest. UFO sightings become legend like King Arthur. Well,
there we go.
There you go.
It's worth diving into. I think it's a load of hocus pocus.
Well, if you see the picture of what supposedly came down, which I am, a serviceman produced a picture of what they claim to have seen. It's just basically a circle with the words red and orange written on it.
Ah, yes. Yeah. There's a walk around the forest. And there's a landing site mocked out, and a big statue in the middle of that. And then you have to walk around to another landing site where you can't get onto the field because that's a farmer's field, and they don't want people trundling all over there with their bloody trundle wheels and what have you. And then you just get to walk around and go to the East Gate, where apparently the servicemen came out. It's a load of bollocks, really, but it was fun just walking around there and just seeing it. And yeah, we were walking around, and then 2 minutes later there'd be another 2 guys just walking around. You're like, okay, is this some sort of club? You're like 2 minutes. Oh, they're from the past. They're us. They're past us.
That's it. See, you've been caught in an alien time loop because time and space is not working in the same way around that spaceship sitting in the forest that you can't see.
It's the Sheeran Matrix. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah, it's the Ed Sheeran Matrix, mate. You've reached the edge of the world box.
I am not living in a world where Ed Sheeran is the title of that universe.
He's the architect, mate.
No, not
he's
having
sitting
it.
in the room going, shape of you ipso facto.
You're in a Tron-like world. That's it, you see. He is the master control program. Ed Sheeran.
No, if Ed Sheeran is a master control person, whatever it is, then I am grabbing a toaster and going to the nearest bath. I am not having that.
Why would you be eating toast in a bath?
If you want me to go down that route on your little dad jokes at the very beginning, I'm more than happy to do that. No, actually, no. We will from now on. Thank you very much.
What?
Thank you for opening that gate.
What? Are you going to be sitting in a bath with a toaster every time I tell a dad joke?
Yes, I will.
Careful not to sneeze.
Yeah. Oh, we appear to have lost Elton. There's a buzzing on the line.
And everyone can smell toast.
We apologise for the inconvenience.
All right. Cool.
I think what else? I think that's around about it, really. It's nice and short. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm still alive and kicking at the moment, so it's all good.
Well, that's good. That's important. I find that useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, anyway, hopefully everything works out for the best with the older ECG, and hopefully it is just stress, because then you can get some class drugs there, mate, to help you out.
I hope so. Nothing's been offered. No.
Oh, they have to find out if it's stress first. They don't want to give you drugs and then find for stress and then find out it's completely something different.
That's not how doctors work. Don't they just dish out drugs like sweets?
Oh yeah,
Not anymore.
like Tic Tacs.
No, that's just that nice Dr. Shipman.
Ah, okay, yes.
He was very good with that sort of shit.
Would you like a jelly baby?
Yeah, would you like a jelly baby? Unfortunately, it was in a needle. Right. Okay. I think we'll leave that there.
We're moving on, yes.
Yeah. Let's move on to Darren. Darren, how about you, sir? How's your week been?
Oh, well, pretty much like everyone else's. I've been watching the world burn as we go. And rather than just watching stuff about people shooting each other in the face and whatever, I've been looking at stories surrounding all this that's going on. And it goes everything from the funny, from a Ukrainian farmer stealing a Russian tank with his tractor.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right, okay. To possibly one of the most gangsterish things I think I've ever seen in any conflict. Right, okay. There was a video of this old woman having a pop at 3 Russian soldiers on a street corner, right? And she's going, why don't you fuck off? Why don't you fuck off back to your own country? Why the fuck are you here? And they're saying to her, look, love, you better turn around and go away, because otherwise this is going to escalate. And then she suddenly pulls out a packet of sunflower seeds. And she goes, here, stick that in your pocket, because then when you die, something good will grow in your place. And it's like, what the fuck?
Brilliant.
I can almost, it's like you can almost hear it in a Cockney accent. Listen here, you slag. Take this packet of fucking sunflower seeds. It's like that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, sunflowers are the national flower of Ukraine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, fuck me. I mean, the Russian soldier would be like, what the fuck is going on here?
I didn't sign up for this.
Exactly. Even the Miss, was it? Their Miss World contestant, or Miss Ukraine. Have you seen her? She's tooled up now with sniper rifles and God knows what else.
Well, you know who the mayor of Kyiv is?
No, not Kyiv.
No,
it's the other one.
The
You're talking about the boxer fella.
Yeah.
He's gone over as well. He's doing his bit of that. But even their sort of the beauty contestants are kick ass over there. Fucking dead shot with a sniper rifle from 200 yards takes the bollocks off a gnat. There you are. So some amazing things there. But
nice.
Apart from that, Let's see. What have I done this week? A little bit of politics, yeah. No, these are the stories surrounding this. Mm-hmm. Those little moments of fucking hell around the fucking hell that's going on. But moving swiftly on from that, of course. What else I've been doing? I've been trying to find as many vouchers for CD keys as I can find so I can get the Elden Ring. And I don't mean that after eating a strong curry. I mean the game Elden Ring, which is as close to Bloodborne, I think, as the Xbox will ever get, or even the PC will ever get.
No, see, because Bloodborne's the only one that's PS4 only, whereas Dark Souls 2.
No. Forget Dark Souls 1.
Dude,
I know Dark Souls 3.
They're by the same people.
Yeah, I know, but no. I've played those two. They haven't got the same feeling as Bloodborne, right? I've watched plenty of people play Bloodborne, right? I mean, there's somewhat of an obsession over this game.
I know, right? I've got it.
Yeah, but it's not the same feel as Dark Souls. There's something different to it. There's a little bit more to it than losing all the time.
Really?
To Bloodborne. Yeah, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get a different impression of that game altogether.
Yeah, I tell you what. Bloodborne is moderately easier than Dark Souls 2 and 3. But that's a bit like saying being punched in the face with a hammer is slightly better than being punched in the face with a mallet. It's, the difference is there, but the difference isn't there enough for you to really give a shit when you can't do it. You can't handle it.
Yep. Well, like I say, I've seen quite a few videos.
No, it's cool. So you're going
I'm forewarned for that. But yeah, the Elden, somebody we know posted up a video earlier on, Wayne Talbot, who's been playing it. And he captioned the video of, this is what happens when you're a noob and you go out exploring the map and it's just full of pretty much like this. And you see him riding this horse, right, on this pathway. And he hears something and you see him turn the camera angle to his right. And without a word of a lie, there's a fucking dragon filling the fucking... You look at it, you think, that's a mountain. Oh, no, it's got a mouth. Fuck me, that's a dragon. It's that big. It fills up the entire screen and you just see him go, arm out. It just fucks off and rides off in the distance.
Yep.
So I'm looking for a way to get that on. I'm getting that on the laptop. I'm not even bothering with the Xbox One version of that. So
okay.
Yeah.
So your laptop's a bit more powerful than the Xbox One, then, is it?
Let's just say that that's like saying that a Ferrari can go faster than a skateboard. That's the understatement, I think.
Okay.
Someone's
bigging up their laptop.
This laptop's a little bit special compared to that over there. I've not seen it fucking quit on anything I've thrown at it, and I think I've thrown
updates, some.
Oh yeah, Windows updates. Elton, what did we say earlier on?
I'm just asking the question.
It's a fly swatter to the bollocks. Come on, this is it. You know this. You know the punishment.
Just asking the question.
I know you pay for that kind of thing on a Saturday night, but no.
No. He goes for ECGs now and just gets his nipples clamped.
Beep. Oh jeez. There's a vision nobody wants.
Well, I don't know. Nurses, they were all into it, mate. As you say, they had you put your pads on.
Yeah. No matter what you're doing, someone out there gets off on it.
Yeah. Rule
That's
34.
what the internet's taught me.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't want to know that, but there you go.
Yeah. Me picking.
Innocent Google searches reveal untold horrors sometimes.
Yeah. It's the ultimate Lovecraftian nightmare, isn't it, the internet, when you think about it? Yeah. It's just stuff you just will never understand, peering back at you from the most innocent of corners. It's like, what?
Hang on, is my webcam on? We've all looked to check, haven't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
we all
we
did.
have.
I guarantee
Yeah,
we all did.
Maybe the light doesn't come on when it's always on.
Yeah.
It's experiences on the internet teaching you to actually look properly at the thumbnail for the site you're about to go on, and just study it. Like, don't click on it. Just look and see if you can try and work out what that thumbnail is.
It might only be 150 pixels square, but you by damn, there's clues in there that will tell you whether or not you're getting fired for clicking on it.
Good Lord, yes. Good Lord, yes.
Anywho, so anything else, sir?
Went over to Colin Jacobs' house to celebrate his birthday. Over there, and Mr. Plastides was over there as well. And I got shown Colin's new Lego collection.
Okay,
and I want the stuff he's got.
Yeah.
He's got like a full on the proper scale Ecto 1 Lego set. Fuck me, is it big? I mean, very, very good. It's the one from the last film. So basically, it's got the seat that comes out the side.
Does
stuff
it?
like it. Oh yeah, it's got the mechanism in it and everything.
No, I mean,
really
does
cool.
it? Does the seat come out the side?
It does. Yeah.
That didn't happen in the first two movies.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. It was apparently a technical addition, shall we say, in the little bit between Ghostbusters 2 and Ghostbusters Afterlife.
No. Yeah, it's a little. It always that bit reminded me of what's that car in Captain Scarlet?
Yeah,
the SPV.
The SPV. That's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Except I like Captain Scarlet. Anyway,
so for his birthday, did you sit on the floor and just push it to each other?
Yes, we did. Yes.
Roll it backwards and forwards.
There you go.
Whee!
Yeah, nice.
Whee! So, and he's got the Razor crest as well.
Oh,
so I should have told him, don't bother putting it together. Just leave it. Leave it as is.
Just leave it in bits, and then it'd be be screen accurate then, wouldn't it?
Just put some Jawas around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there you go. As you can tell, a pretty quiet week for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
That's it,
is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. Then, as far as my week's concerned, it's been pretty quiet myself. Was it? I was on max taxi duty on Saturday again for my daughter going off to a party and then having to pick her up at midnight while her friend in the back who hates throwing up tried not to throw up into a bucket that I had helpfully brought and supplied.
No.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, when kids haven't ever properly been drinking and then they finally allowed to have a crack at it, and they think, oh, vodka, that's good, and it doesn't taste of anything, and then oh, pink gin, that looks nice, I haven't tried that, and then wine, why do adults drink wine so much? Oh, I'll try a bit of that. Yeah, and then add that to a system that is completely unused to alcohol. Unsurprisingly. Illness ensues.
How bad was the hangover?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think is probably the best way to put it.
We had that very similar situation when all the lockdowns were released and Jacob had his mates over for their first kind of little binge thing, where it was like, Dad, just go in the snug, just play the video games, close the door, don't open the door. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And so I made myself scarce, and Amanda was like clearing up one of the girls. Within about half hour, one of the girls had already blown chunks all over the place and was sat at the table going, oh, over one of the bowls. You're like, this is half hour into the night. How the hell are you going to survive the rest of the night?
Nice.
Yeah, well, they preload, don't they?
I've never understood that.
No.
Go drink loads before we go out. And it's like, why?
But you're going round to a friend's house. I understand it if you want to save money in London, but you're not. You're in Castle Heddenham. Don't do that. It's nice here.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, like I say, she didn't preload, but you know what I will say is it's one of those things of I'd much rather they did it where they were safe and you know at least they're contained in a house as opposed to wandering around some pub with some fucking slightly unsavory wankers. But yeah, no, it was a Saturday night. I didn't get called up to be an Uber though, and no one jumped in the back this time, so that was good. No, I was disappointed in many ways because I had the fare and you know the inability to find out where I was actually going. You know, even though I've got a sat nav, I had it all built in. Then media-wise, I suppose we discovered a little feature on Disney Plus, which is turned into a let's just hide away from the world and just remember when the world was lovely, which is on Disney Plus's Marvel section. There's the ability to watch the Marvel movies in universe chronological order.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So they've rearranged all the movies so that you start with Captain America, which is set in the 1940s, and then it's Captain Marvel, which is set in the 1990s, and then it's Iron Man, and then it's and it goes on like that. But it puts them in actual chronological order as opposed to the order they were released. So we're working through them in universe order. Which is really silly because you could pretty much just do that yourself by just putting the discs in and just watching them yourself. But hey ho, so yeah. But it was just like, oh, isn't it nice just to sit on the sofa and watch bad guys get punched by good guys and not worry about anything? So yeah, we watched that. I did start to watch the only Denis Villeneuve film I haven't seen, which is Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie Enemy, which is a bit fucked up by the looks of things, but I was so tired, I fell asleep all the way through it, only to wake up for a very surreal sequence. So I'm like, what on earth? You know, if you sort of imagine sort of falling asleep at the beginning of From Dusk Till Dawn, and thinking, oh, this is a crime caper, and then waking up at the end only to find that there's an Aztec temple, there's people on fire, and a man's got a gun for a cock. And you're like, how did we get from that point to that point? That's kind of...
don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like blinked and sort of wait. 1 minute there's George Clooney in a hotel room, and then I woke up and there's a man with a gun for a cock and there's vampires flying everywhere. What the fuck happened? It was like that. I was watching Enemy for about 10 minutes, and it was Jake Gyllenhaal thinking that he was seeing himself as a duplicate running around the house, and then I sort of fell asleep, and then I woke up and there was a enormous city-sized spider, and then I thought, nah, I've missed a bit here. I'll leave that and I'll come back to it. so I'll have to report on that. I can't find it anywhere. I had to sort of get a copy of it, so it's a bit hard to find. But yeah, Enemy. So we might stick that on the list if it becomes like free on one of the playthroughs, because it was very odd and very yellow. It seems like everything was tinted yellow. But anyway, and other than that, what else? Oh, and yeah, in a little DIY disaster moment, this very evening.
Yeah,
I know, hot off the press. I changed the light bulb in the hall. I'm saying this because because Carol's just come in and she's sitting there. I changed the light bulb in the hall. I took the lampshade that hangs off the light in the hall off, and it's basically three hooks, 3 hooks pointing up, and you have to unhook the lampshade from them hooks. Then what I did was I got the light bulb and I took it out, and then I took the next light bulb and I put it in, but it wouldn't quite go in. So what I did was I stood on the stairs. I stood on the stairs to take me up one step. I put my hand up to grab hold of the light, the bulb socket. I put the bulb in. I turned it. I walked down to go, I'm going to turn on the light. And what happened was my wedding ring got caught on the hook. And I suddenly found myself in that kind of weird, good, the bad, and the ugly situation of someone hanging while on the back of a horse that's slowly moving forward. Because I was right at the bottom of the stair, and my wedding ring was hooked over the top of the lamp. And I'm just hanging there going, I haven't got enough purchase to go backwards. And if I go forwards, my entire weight's going to either rip the ring off, euphemism, or I'm going to pull the bloody lamp down out of the ceiling. I'm like, shouting up the stairs. What film
was that in?
Shouting up to the girls, what?
What film was that in? We saw recently.
What, with the horse?
Yeah.
I think, wasn't that Buster Scruggs?
Buster Scruggs, yeah.
That's it. I thought, yeah, it's the same sort of deal. There's, it's sort of like the horse slowly moving forward and he's hanging off the tree. Well, it was a very similar kind of deal, except I was hanging off a lampshade. And there's me with the girls going, would anyone mind coming downstairs and giving me a hand for a second? Yeah, so
and as they came down the stairs, they turned the lights on and poof.
Yeah, there was a brief flash, a pop, and all the power went out. No, and so that was that. So that's been my week. Really, other than that, I have literally abandoned the internet as far as I'm concerned. With Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm literally only looking at Facebook now just so I can see if there's any feedbacks for any of our stuff. But yeah, because I just can't take it. It's just driving me fucking nuts. I mean,
it's understandable. It's well, what can we say?
Well, what can we say? I mean, just to be serious for a second. Well, not serious, really. I mean, I think what annoys me more isn't so much the information coming out. It's the fact that every motherfucker from the person at the till in the shops to the highest of high people in government all suddenly go from I'm an expert in COVID to I'm now an expert in armchair warfare because I played fucking Call of Duty once. I mean, literally, I think I hit my limit when I saw about 12 different people all do the same thing. The Ukraine, a thread on Twitter. It's like, yeah, and who are you again? Oh, right, you darn socks for a living, and you're about to give me a 12-thread fucking post on how the situation in the Ukraine has evolved. Okay, I can read Wikipedia too. Please back the fuck off. You're not important in this situation. And it was just getting to the point where it's like, okay, there's only two Twitters I want to hear from. I want to hear from the Ministry of Defence and maybe the BBC and maybe another news outlet. What I don't want to hear about is Doris from Cheam getting retweeted about how she once looked at a tank once and it had a Z on the side, and because it had that, it meant it was this, that, and the other. Oh, fuck off. None of you fuckers know nothing about anything, and if someone came into your street with a gun, you'd shit a brick, let alone a fucking vacuum thermonuclear weapon. It's just like, don't just because you watched fucking Band of Brothers does not make you bloody pattern. Piss off. Get out of my face, you useless humans.
And if you have watched Band of Brothers, then you should download the Band of Brothers podcast.
Yes, exactly. Where two armchair generals talk about warfare. But yeah, and that's when I kind of hit my limit. It's just like, oh my God, if one more person who knows fuck all about fuck all sermonizes to me on a 20 fucking post thread about how this, that, and the other is going to happen in the Ukraine because they've seen, I don't know, they've seen the fucking rendered intro for Call of Duty 2044 or whatever it is. It's just like, oh, get bent. Oh, just fuck off. Oh, social media made me antisocial this week, and that's that.
That's fair enough. I don't blame you for disappearing from it.
Oh, so I will undoubtedly be back posting stupid shit and memes soon enough. But right now, I just can't be bollocks with it. I can't be bollocks with people telling me all about it as well. But anyway, yes. So I was going to say about feedback. I was going to look at the feedback for our episode. We did an episode on Dr. Sleep. We didn't actually get a lot of feedback on that because I think there wasn't an awful lot to say after we'd kind of said it. Though I did get a lovely poster of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Chris Johnson, which was to do with the boiler. The boiler issue with the chimney coming out of my boiler last week. And obviously Martin Thompson did a good contextless version of the cast last week as well, which is pretty cool. But I tell you what, in terms of feedback, we did get a lot in response to the actual Facebook banner for Master and Commander, which we're about to review. And, you know, obviously I don't want to say if it kind of influences us, but I would say that David Lefavre-Sell said, personally, I was disappointed about the lack of historical accuracy. Hashtag release the sodomy cut. While Keith Calder said, those books, though, they had 17 more of these laying about they could have easily adapted, and The Far Side of the World is a super late one entry in the series. So it was a puzzling choice for a one-off, which is interesting because I didn't know that. I knew I thought it was an amalgam, but we'll get into talking about that in a minute. If anyone does have any feedback for any episode, this one, the one before Dr. Sleep, or the ones before that, just send in some feedback to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or get on the old Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/theblackdogpodcast, or hit me up on Twitter, which is @blackdogpodcast. Like I say, I'm not on there this week because I can't take any more armchair generals who think playing Sid Meier's Civilization 4 makes them fucking the greatest military mind since Napoleon. But yeah, I will be back on there soon. Anyway, so, ladies and gentlemen, let's roll the jingle and we'll be back, raising the mainsail and strike forth for the Queen and country, or something.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Huzzah! Roll the jingle. Huzzah! 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 All right. Okay. There's a thing. That's the only nautical piece of music I could come up with at short notice. Yep. So, anyway, right. So, Master and Commander, Far Side of the World is a 2003 American epic period war drama written and produced and directed by Peter Weir, who you may remember directed such things as Picnic at Hanging Rock. He also did Witness, and he also did the Dead Poets Society, to name a few.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there you go. So he's done a few. And The Truman Show as well. Idiot. I should have known that. Yeah. Anyway. Right, so he did that. And yes, and it's set during the Napoleonic Wars, and the film's plot and characters are adapted from 3 novels by Patrick O'Brien's Aubrey Maturin series. I could never pronounce their surname even when I heard it, which includes 20 complete novels in Jack Aubrey's naval career. The film stars Russell Crowe as Aubrey and Captain of the Royal Navy, and Paul Bettany as Stephen Maturin, the ship's surgeon. This is the second on-screen collaboration for Crowe and Bettany, who also appeared in Beautiful Mind. The film was a personal project of Fox executive Tom Rothman, who recruited Weir to helm the project, and it cost $150 million to make. And it made how much, Darren?
One shiver and 45,000 main braces.
Nice. Okay, Jim.
200 million weevils.
Which one are you going to choose, though? Which one would you have out of that lot?
You always
must choose
the lesser of two
weevils.
All together now. Okay. What about you then, Elton? How much do you reckon it made?
21 cannonballs off the starboard bow.
Nice. And a free ration of grog for every man.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Actually, it made $211 million, which you would say was quite a success. But actually, it turned out that because of the marketing budget and everything else, on top of the $150 million to make, it basically broke even. So $200 million wasn't enough.
That's quite pricey for, when was it, 2003, isn't it?
Yeah, and the worst bit of all was, unfortunately, it came out. It came out the same year as another naval film set in a similar sort of period, which was
naval film.
Well,
come on,
it's on the high seas. It's got pirates.
Battleship. No?
Yeah, exactly. Battleship. No, it came out the same year as Curse of the Black Pearl. Was it Pirates of the Caribbean? And unfortunately, also for $10 million less, Curse of the Black Pearl made $600 million, which kind of put a shot across the bow and left this film all at sea. Hey, here all week, ladies and gentlemen. So, unfortunately, yeah, there was no more sequels because it was supposed to be the start of a franchise.
Right.
But unfortunately, that was not to be. So, so it came out the same year as that, and and it also came out the same year as Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Oh,
so,
there you go.
So it got absolutely fucking trounced at the box office every which way it turned. So, yeah, bit unfortunate, really. Anyway, so before we start doing our chat, let's go around the table. Who has seen this before? Because I think, if I remember rightly, last week one or two of us hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, I've never seen this.
You've never seen it before?
Ever? No.
Okay, well, in which case, if everyone else has seen it, I say let's start with you.
I saw some of it on a plane, and I bailed on it.
That's
I thought,
right.
This isn't being well served by a small square in the back of someone's seat.
Brilliant. Okay,
This
right.
movie, so,
That's it. Okay, right. So what we'll do is we'll do Darren first, quick thought, then Jim, then Elton, or then me, then Elton, because Elton picked it. So there you go. Oh, God, all this moving around the seats. So, Darren, just quickly, top line, what do you think of it?
Well, when I watched this movie, when I started watching it, I was feeling a little bit tired. Within about 30 seconds, I was wide fucking awake. I'm not joking. Rapt attention. I loved it. I thought it was great. Really enjoyed it.
Lovely. Right, yo. And Jim? Did it do well out with a bigger screen?
Well, most definitely. I mean, it's a very long film, but it really just sort of flew by, and I was just, thoroughly on board, if you'll pardon the pun.
Nice, cool. For me, I mean, this is, believe it or not, this is my third watch of this film in about 7 days. I've seen this film 3 times in 7 days.
Wow. Ouch.
Because before you announced it, Elton, before you announced it, I'd already seen it. That the Sunday before, and then I thought, well, I won't watch it for the rest of the week. But then I thought, no, I've got to give it a go. I've got to watch it. I've got to see, watch it a bit more strongly, like appraise it rather than sit there watching it with a family who've never seen it before. So I did that on Sunday. And then yesterday, it ended up on Film 4 at 6:00.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good time, isn't it?
Yeah, so I watched it on film. So I watched it on Film 4 as well. It's like, all right.
Nice.
So there you go. So I have seen it. I've seen it 3 times, which obviously tells you exactly where I'm going with it, which is I loved it. I think it's great. And, and to use that horrible phrase, it's a film, it's the type of film that, Hollywood doesn't make anymore. Big, old-fashioned, stonking, character-driven historical epics. And I loved it. But we'll get into it a bit more in a minute. Elton, what about you then, sir? You picked it.
I did. Well, I haven't seen it since, I reckon about 7 or 8 years. And I'm sure I saw this at the cinema.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went for this instead of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Wise.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I chose wisely there.
You choose wisely.
Yeah, box office will not show that, but yes, I feel I won that battle.
Yeah.
I flipping love this. It makes me want to know more.
Mm.
I wish I knew more. I wish I knew the books as well. But there's a huge amount of books.
Yeah.
And I'd love to dive into them, even in audio book fashion. But I really like this. I think it does a great job of showing you a fully fledged ship and its crew. And not that everyone gets fair enough screen time, but I think it's balanced enough for you to get through.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I mean, let's start the chat then. I mean that is obviously the big thing. I mean, it is a big old ensemble in a fairly enclosed space. I mean, how did you guys feel like it went with the crew? How did you feel about being introduced to the crew, getting to know them, how they worked? Because a lot of the film seems to focus more on what's happening with the crew than what's happening outside of the ship. How did you feel about that, Dal? What do you think about that? The crew. I mean, the dynamics of the crew, the how it felt being on that ship and how they all got sort of treated. Did you?
Right now, I enjoyed it. Okay, I love the camaraderie and whatever. What I will say about that is that I don't believe it for a second that is how it was. I'm sorry, but no. Right? Okay. But this is the thing. It's a thoroughly entertaining film. It's nice. It's a nice little ad that they actually do all work together quite well, and the captain's actually quite a good sort, and he's firm but fair. But I don't believe it was actually like that for them on board those ships back then. So I will. I'll have to say, that bit I found it a little bit hard to swallow. But for this film, no, it works very well.
Interesting. So what? So you just think it would just be everyone just be screaming and crying and generally?
No, it just there was a little bit too. There was a little bit too much understanding between the crew and the captain. I'm sorry, you get fucking skivers everywhere, right? Okay, this is it. You don't have an entirely perfect crew. I don't care what you say, right? Nobody you don't get a full complement of people like that are, just all right sorts. There's always wrong uns in amongst them, right? Okay.
Right.
And I don't know the captain himself. I just have to wonder how many actual captains had that kind of personality.
But that's
back then that weren't. This is it. It's that kind of toss up of you're either a complete and utter bastard to your crew and you survive, or you're understanding like that and your ship is sunk 5 minutes out of dock.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's the only thing, because that's the thing that kind of, this is great, but I've got, it's like,
hey
it's
chaps,
like
we can all get along. Bang.
Yeah, it's like Dr. Dre. I very much doubt he's got any kind of medical qualifications whatsoever. It's a bit like that. Don't get me wrong, he's produced some great stuff, and I've enjoyed listening to it. But, I don't think he's going to help you out in a medical emergency somehow.
I don't think that man's ever been to medical school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Jim, do you concur? Do you think this is a realistic portrayal of a ship at sea, or do you hold with Mr. Barnard that this is all a bit idealised and a bit weird and not quite as chappy as they should be, or as they're a bit too chappy and friendly?
Well, on those old sort of ships, you really had to get on. I do think kind of this has probably sanded off some of the rough edges of the nautical life.
Where was the scurvy? That's what I want to know. Where was the outbreaks of scurvy on board?
What was it David Lafarge said? Where's the sodomy cut?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, famously, there's the quote from Churchill of where he ordered, a full inquiry into the British Navy and to improve standards, and the Admiralty said, well, this'll interfere with fine old naval traditions, and Churchill said, what, rum, sodomy and the lash?
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, I think kind of it's one of those things, historical things, either they go one side or the other. Either you have kind of the Holy Grail school of history, where everyone is literally covered in shit.
Yeah.
Or on the flip side, you have Excalibur, where it's all, someone's up all night polishing their armour, and it's always impeccable.
Yeah.
This is a bit more, I think, kind of an Excalibur-tinted view of naval life. But I think there's enough grit in there for me not to get, too het up about it.
Yeah.
And I think kind of, these ships, they were kind of a bit more like gangs on the water, because, you are so closely confined. And I think kind of actually they're not all that nice. Because there's that moment where they decide, one of the midshipmen is a Jonah.
Yeah.
And they turn on him.
He takes himself out the equation before it tears the ship apart.
Yeah. And I guess
so. There's touches of it there under the surface, but not so much. It's kind of to put you off your popcorn.
Yeah. What about you, Elton? How did you feel about it?
Well, maybe I'm at the glass half full in this moment, where I think you are going to get that odd occasion where everyone does get along and pulls their own weight. It is going to happen on the very rare occasions. And this is going to be one of them rare occasions. And I like it for that. And as you say, with was it Holm? The midship Holm? He's the guy who grabs a cannonball and just jumps off the side, isn't he?
Yeah. Jonah.
Yeah, well... What is that? Because he was trying to fraternize with people, or was he just trying to be friendly with the lower deck crew?
I think what happened. I mean, I've never read the book, so I don't know if there was an actual explanation for that anywhere in there. And if anyone's got the explanation, by all means, write in, send us a feedback in. But as I saw it, and like I say, I've seen it far too many times in 1 week. So I might be overthinking this to death. But the way I saw it was that when the men down on the deck start singing, they're in their little group, they're singing. But then what happens is he sort of breaks in trying to be their friend.
Yes. And
that kind of seems to be kind of one of the many themes running throughout the film, which is, there's a very clear class, and there's the class to be ruled and then there's the class that are the rulers. And if you try and break that barrier, you won't be thanked by either side.
That's right, yeah.
Because he sings over the top of them.
Yeah, thinking that he's going to be one of the lads and seen as one of the lads, but it's that's not the way it happens, is it?
No, and the other thing is because he's a senior officer, they all can't say anything against him. So as soon as he sings over the top, they have to stop. And so it's almost like by trying to take part, he's actually shutting them up.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
You know what I mean? I mean, like I say, I could be overreading it, but that's the thing, and that brings these. So that's like inadvertently, it seems to them like he's dick swinging, and he ruins their basically their downtime.
Yeah.
And then it turns out, then it gets round that he made a mistake with the ship, the Phantom, and then and everyone starts getting paranoid, and it all starts getting a bit. Ooh, and they're looking for someone to blame. And he's just put a big bullseye on his back. Because that's why I was going to say with Darren, what you were saying about like the ship not having sort of dissension in the ranks and everyone being friendly. But you keep cutting down to that guy who, for the life of me, I don't know who he is, but for the life of me, I kept thinking it was Quincy.
Quincy?
Yeah, Quincy, MD. The guy who ends up with the piece of metal in his head.
The penny.
The penny in his head.
Yeah, that's it. The penny on his head, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, I just kept thinking it's Quincy. That's bloody Quincy, that is.
It's the Klugman
guy, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was what, sorry?
He was the hold fast guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He wasn't speaking up until that point, and then he had that operation, and it was all...
something busted in his head, and he's lost it. Yeah, but the whole point was that he was kind of like he was stirring it up, and so there was dissension in the ranks, but they kept it to themselves because as soon as that young guy showed even the slightest dissension, bumping into Holt, straight away he's there's no option. Holt's going, oh no, let's not do anything. And Aubrey's like, nope, he's going on the fucking rack. Yeah. We're going to have him out. We're going to tell everyone you cannot have dissension in the rank. And that's the whole conversation with Stephen and Aubrey.
Yeah,
is you can be diplomatic and you can be satirical and you can sit back and have all these airs and graces, but people have to be ruled on a ship because if they don't, it turns into fucking chaos very quickly. So
yeah, it becomes Mutiny City, doesn't it? If someone thinks that they can push themselves past an officer without tipping their hand to him, then that's it. Then they'll all be doing it soon, and then they'll all be wanting to steer the boat, won't they?
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's that whole thing about ruling by threat rather than actually having to do it. Because if they don't have to do it, then they don't cause dissatisfaction amongst the ranks. They're always beating us down. It's just like the implication that you don't do it, otherwise you will get punished, rather than actually having to punish them. So I mean that's what I was going to get round to, was the fact that I thought it had just the right level of grit. It had that kind of, we're all friends on the boat, but we're only all friends on the boat up to a point. Because if we're not, it turns into a fucking shit show, as we find out with poor old Holt, and then also the shipman that goes over on the what's it, mast?
On the mast. Yes.
Yeah, because if you don't pull your weight, everyone fucking goes down like a lead balloon.
That was a tough scene.
Yeah,
that was real tough, especially when he's trying to swim towards that mast, and you're like, he's gonna make it, but is it gonna pull over the boat in turn? And then that dude gets the old hatchets out. It's like, no, it is now time to cut it away. Oh, it's heart rending, especially when you see him just rolling over the hills. You're like, that's it, isn't it?
Yep, that's
Taddy
right.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, that's the one thing. I mean, we'll go around again. I think is how often this film is all about foreshadowing things. It's really doing that a lot, and that scene with the mast is kind of an obvious one where it's like, you know, only two scenes before they're sitting there having that the pun about, you know, if you're a captain of a ship, you must always choose the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, he's having to do exactly that.
Oh yeah, okay. I hadn't noticed that.
You know, he has to choose the lesser of two evils: either lose a crewman and a mast, or lose the entire ship. And there's lots of bits like that, which I really like. But anyway, let's forget me, because otherwise I'll just whiffle on about it, because like I say, I've got it fresh in my mind, really. But what about the character? What about Russell Crowe and was it Paul Bettany? I almost said Jarvis there, but Paul Bettany. How do you feel those two characters were? I mean, what did you think of them, Jim?
I really liked how their relationship played out, and the way it was set up. I mean, after I finished the movie, I did around halfway through, I think I actually really appreciated the way this film started. Again, excuse the pun, threw you in the deep end. It's just, here's the situation, getting on with it. In lesser hands, we'd have had a big scene with them all leaving port and all going, I don't want a stupid naturalist on board, blah, blah, blah. What's the use of man? Blah, blah. I was just surgeon. Oh, all right, then I might show my butterfly, blah, blah, blah. And you'd have, you know, it'd be all really overplayed, and this grudging respect develops between them, blah, blah, blah. And then probably some homoerotic undertones as well for Oscar bait, blah, 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 blah. Whereas this, it was a big epic story, but it was told almost documentary style. Of just stuff happens, and it doesn't over-egg the pudding and go, look, this is a plot point. Look, this is a character building bit. Look, they're getting on now. You know what I mean? It just, they already knew each other. They already had a rapport. They were friends, and that was, you revealed naturally without exposition. And I liked it didn't take that skin of the shitty fucking Curse of Film School route we'd have now, which is, well, nowhere, you can't have this. We didn't see the meat. It's a plot hole. You know what I mean? It's kind of, everything has to be back-engineered to buggery and signposted to buggery, and it's kind of like, oh, fuck off. Whereas this, I thought it was just, I just really appreciated just, here we are, there's the titles. Look, this is happening.
Yeah.
And, you know, hold on, lads, grab that rigging, and away we go. You know, you get to know who these people are and how they work. And I like the fact that the focus did go through the entire crew, because it is, it's not just about the captain. I mean, I think one of the points this film made was it's kind of, you know, great leaders are only as good as the men who are following them.
Yeah. Yeah, who are willing to follow them. That's the other thing. Yeah.
It's like, it's about the crew, isn't it?
All
pulling together.
It feels like it's about the ship, to
Yeah.
be honest. I feel like that you'd come back in like 10 years' time and it'd be the HMS Surprise, but with a different captain. But
surprise.
Yeah. What about you, Dal? How did you feel about those two characters, or two actors?
What you mean, Paul Bettany and Russell Crowe,
and their relationship and everything?
Yeah, I thought it was. It's that kind of, you know, Kirk and Bones type of relationship, isn't it? You know, where they can be honest with one another.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised it took so long to get to the Star Trek naval element for this. No offense, but it's just there is a lot of that in there.
Oh God! Head for the fog bank. Head for the nebula. You know, there's that whole thing of I will chase him around Perdition's arm and shit going on there. You know, the whole fucking that thing from Wrath Khan where they've got the two ships literally crossing over one another, right? Because they can't see one another. That sort of thing with the fog bank. I wish there'd have been a little bit more of that, like the other ship following them in.
Oh, right. You wanted a bit more of the fight with the Acheron.
Yeah, the bit where they were in the fog, right? I wish there was a little bit more of that. And they had actually gone in but I mean, we kind of had it a bit later on anyway when the Acheron's chasing them, and then they set up that sort of like life raft for the barrels to make it look like the ship.
Yeah,
I like that. That was cool, really cool. But those two main characters, I thought, there was a really good sort of genuine relationship there.
Yeah, cool. And Elton, I take it you agree, but what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think they bounced off each other really, really well. They kind of read each other's minds. They knew exactly where they were on every single page. And they kept each other in their thoughts when they were at the point of no return in their decisions. So you had like Paul Bettany on the island, where he's just got to the island after he's just repaired himself, and he's getting better, and he's actually doing like his science stuff that he's been gagging to do for so long. And then he sees the ship, and he's like, I know exactly what that means. I have to down tools, and we have to go.
Yeah. I did like that. The whole, again, that whole mirroring thing, that whole sense of compromise that that Stephen wants to be on the Galapagos, but Aubrey's all about, nope, we are doing the fucking mission.
Yeah.
But then there's
but when the Stephen gets shot, he knows, and especially when they're in the mill pond where it's just so beautifully still. He knows he has to go back to the island to get him out, well again. Yeah, that's the only choice he has.
Yeah. There's a point where the obsession has to give way to, and duty has to give way to friendship, and then that gets repaid because Stephen, again, he realizes his duty to science suddenly has to give way to his friendship with Aubrey and the mission, and it's a nice mirror of the two characters.
Yeah, but I think they had a nice to and fro as well. It felt as if Stephen was almost stepping over the line. You had them moments where, am I speaking to the captain or am I speaking to my friend?
Yeah.
And that does seem to be a line that crops up in a lot of movies, but it's so well played. And if it's done as well as this, it works really well. But this was just, you are talking to your friend about this, but hang on, no, he's put his captain's hat on. Okay, fine, let's stand up a little bit straighter and talk to the captain. But I got the sense that there was a lot of history there already.
Yeah, and to go back to Jim's point, it's that whole thing of you don't need to have all these things introduced. The dialogue and the way the actors act between each other can easily portray 20 years of back history, rather than having one character walk in and go, why, it's Stephen, the doctor, and, well, I haven't seen you since you came on board 5 weeks ago, and what was it? You were at the Cambridge University of Biometrics, weren't you? Yes, I was. I been studying under Darwin. Have you really? Brilliant. Well, we need you on board the ship. You're going to be our surgeon.
You could have that moment where they take off the old surgeon where he's dead, and you're like, oh, we're just replacing him. Don't worry about that. You're the new surgeon, aren't you? Brilliant. Come on, here's your quarters. Carry on.
Yes, here's your quarters. This is the front of the ship. We call this the bow. And here's the back of the ship. We call this the stern. And then there's like 6 hours of fucking walking around the ship and explaining everything. Which is kind of go back to what I was saying about you don't see films like this anymore, where they grant the audience the benefit of the doubt. There's a modicum of intelligence to fill in the blanks with with the story, rather than literally spell everything out. Why, you're Captain Jack Sparrow. You're the worst pirate I've ever seen. But you have heard of me. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
Get in the bin.
Get in the sea, you fucker.
Get in the bin, but it made like $2 billion or something like that, didn't it?
Because it's got special effects wazzed up the fucking chimney, and it doesn't make a lick of sense. if you're watching it for 5 minutes, you'll be like, oh, yeah, look, there's a bloke doing the drunk person and he is being funny. And there is a lady and she has her boobies out. And then there is some sword fighting and some magic zombies and prisoners and pirates. And, look, there's a chase. And it's
there's a monkey and there's Keith Richards. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, hold on. The music's really good. Oh, it's telling me to be excited now. It's just like,
stop it.
Fuck me. Whereas this film just goes, here's the boat, here's the people on it, here's what's happening.
What I like about this film, and it reminds me of another film that I'm not going to be doing for a long, long time, if ever. Okay, and that is Black Hawk Down. And I know your disdain for it.
Yeah,
but there is a sense of Black Hawk Down just starts, and it doesn't stop. There is no wavering. There is no lull. There is nothing like that. And this has an echo over that where you're on the boat and you're just there.
I know what you're talking about. I will disagree because the one thing I do know about Black Hawk Down is that I can't tell the difference between one person and the other at all in terms of personality, acting, their look, the fact that they're all bald, covered in shit and shouting a load of stuff that I don't understand.
Stop it. I'll pull that pin. I will.
Pull it away. If you want to just sit there and just listen to me rant for an hour and 3/4, you're more than welcome.
But this does have its ups and downs and its quiet moments and its really dramatic moments. But you do kind of step onto the boat 4 episodes into everything already. And you need to catch up quickly, don't you?
Yeah.
Last week, soap.
Yeah, last week there was a boat, and the boat went to Brazil. No, anyway, I was going to say, what about the pacing of the film? How do you guys feel about it? Because I mean, as I've already illustrated in a very disdainful way, modern day blockbusters really aren't going to give you 5 minutes of breathing space or allow the actors to, I don't know, act and let you fill in the blanks from their acting. How did you feel about the fact that the film didn't start with a big action sequence, had long langers of nothing going on seemingly between like the 3 showdowns with the Acheron? How did you got any?
I thought that the word I'd use is orchestrated. It doesn't cleave to the, again, film school bullshit of something's going to happen every 10 minutes, otherwise the mouth breathers might die. Kind of fucking bullshit, If this film has a message, it's turn off your fucking phone. It's...
Nice.
But it's a movie. I think it runs a trip line and pulls you in right at the start, and so it puts you on the back foot. So you're playing catch up. So you pay attention. You get to know these people, and I think it builds up to these. I mean, there's the sort of big sequences with the ship to ship battles, but there's lots of little sequences as well that are very tense just on a personal level. And I think it just, in fact, there is just something happening every 10 minutes, but not in a chitty way.
Yeah.
In a way that actually just keeps you engaged and it's pulling you further and further into the world.
What about you, Dal? Because, I mean, obviously, this is the first time you've seen it. So how did you feel about it? Because, obviously, it is big and epic in terms of scope, but it is also fairly spaced out in terms of actual action.
Yeah. No, I thought it was just perfectly paced. That was it. I didn't think it dragged at all. When it needed to slow down, it did it for a reason. There was a piece of exposition will be coming your way, but not like, not anything to really kind of jam down your throat. Because they kind of trust the audience with this film. They don't assume that they need to be told exactly why this man is going to the toilet, or why this man is, I don't know, got his finger in his ear. They just, we'll just let them make up their own mind on that one and maybe explain it, later on down the line. So yeah, I thought it was fine. The pacing, no problem with that at all.
And did you have a particular? I mean, because it does have a few big old spectacular moments, but was there a particular highlight for you? Was there something that you really sort of dug? Or it was something that really kind of like, I'm on board now. Thank you very much. Pardon the pun.
I think it was the let's see, because I do like battles like that where the sort of like the people you're rooting for are vastly outgunned or outnumbered, and they manage to pull a fast one. So the whole bit where they're disguised as the whaling ship, you know, and then suddenly the coats all come off and the other crew on the other ship are like, oh, shit, you know, enjoyed that. But there's also, and I'll say this now, this is a bit of a spoiler, okay? It's the bit at the end when Paul Bettany and Russell Crowe are sat in the cabin, and he talks about the captain or the doctor on the was it a Spanish ship?
French.
He talked about how the doctor died a few months ago, and Russell Crowe's like, no, I spoke to him earlier on, and then it kind of twigs what the fuck has happened. You know, it's like, so it's own, turn the ship around.
Yeah, and the fact there isn't a resolution to that.
Yeah, I like that. It's a whole thing of, you know, it's laying the groundwork for number 2. You know, not that there ever was one, unfortunately, because I would really love to have seen the further adventures of Lucky Jack. You know,
it's also quite interesting that in that you, again, talking about mirroring and everything, but the only person on the rival ship that Jack actually does appear to trust is the ship's doctor.
Yeah.
So again, it's that whole thing of him sort of seeing Stephen, his relationship with Stephen, and then going in and seeing the doctor and thinking, well, doctor's at least trustworthy. And then it's a whole thing again about, you know, about the disguises and things pretending to be things they're not. So, you know, like you get the whole thing with the stick insect, and then it's like, well, we're going to disguise our ship, and then the French are like, well, we're going to disguise our captain.
Yes.
It's quite cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. But what I like about it is you have a couple of moments where Jack is, well, you have got me twice. There will not be a third time. And then you play out with the old captain pretending to be the surgeon or the doctor on the other ship, and the camera just holds on that face of that dead captain. He's like, it's very grey, isn't he? Very, very grey. He didn't just die.
Yeah.
But, you know, it stays on there, and I think you're supposed to think, well, he's dead. And Jack obviously thinks that. And the third time that he does get tricked by him is that moment. He's like, oh, he done ya, didn't he? He absolutely done ya. And that's what I like about it. It's very open-ended as did they get away? Didn't they get away? We don't know. Did the bad guys win? Did the good guys win? We don't know. It leaves it so open.
Yeah. Jim, how do you feel about that whole twist?
I thought that was just a perfect ending, because it isn't kind of, again, it doesn't, what lesser hands would have done it, really. You'd have got the ship, you'd have got the captain, he'd have found he had a laser, and he'd have won the war against Boney.
These days.
And then they'd all get a medal apart from Chewbacca at the end. But you know what I mean? It's just kind of, I like that. It's just kind of like, oh, sorry, mate, there's big tortoise is going to have to wait a bit longer. The job's not finished. But that, you know, we are still in a war. Life goes on. And it kind of, you know, they sail off, and it's kind of, you know, our time with these chaps and this particular episode of this series is done and dusted, and they're sailing off into a new adventure. And I was just perfectly happy with that.
Yeah. It is that whole thing, isn't it? Is that you're not really in at the beginning, you're not really in at the end. You're just in for the slice of life adventure that you just happen upon. as the audience.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that was so cool. I mean, I would have loved to have seen more, but that isn't to be. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I've said it a couple of times now, but do you think there will be films like this anymore? Do you think this kind? Because obviously, just going outside of the film itself, but like I say, this thing had the bad misfortune of coming out with Pirates of the Caribbean and Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, which are both big epic films, but in comparison, they feel quite hollow and shallow. I mean, I know Return of the King is a great film and it's a big epic old sweep, but you look at Master and Commander and that's a real boat in the real sea.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what I mean? And as much as I love CGI and I think there's nothing it can't do if it's used properly, there was something very interesting about it being a tangible thing. That boat being really there and solid and in the sea. And okay, some of the sea might have been digital, but there was definitely a massive water tank they used for Titanic. And I've been down a rabbit hole with it, by the way.
It won 2 Oscars as well, didn't it?
Yeah, but none of them for special effects, and none of them for acting, and none of them for music, and
best cinematography and best sound editing.
Which is fair enough, but I don't know. It feels like it did more with its special effects budget than the other 2 movies, because the other 2 movies did special effects which kind of did the Oscar bait thing of kind of going, woohoo, we're here, look, here's my 100,000 orcs over here. And,
well, does Return of the King stand up?
I don't know. Doesn't it?
No. Legolas sliding down an elephant's leg. Or
oh, God, in terms of special effects. No.
God, I'm glad you said leg.
I think I've downloaded the wrong Lord of the Rings. Hold on.
Exactly.
What's this? Return of the Rule 34? What's this mean?
Lord of my ring.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, Gandalf's staff, the wizard's sleeve,
Grand Elf, yes,
Grand Elf's staff, sequel to the wizard's sleeve.
The wizard only comes when he's supposed to come.
Yeah, precisely when he means to.
Dildo Saggins.
And Poppin.
Oh God, here we go. Yeah. I'll give you my axe. Oh yes, really? I've come to fix your fridge. Anyway, but but those big films, those ones that got the big shiny woohoo, were being big shiny woohoo. Whereas if you look at Master and Commander, there's a lot of practical effects, and the CGI that's done there is CGI to make things bigger and not necessarily showy.
Yeah.
So a lot of that boat stuff, when it's the 2 of them when they're chasing the Acheron at sea, that's all CG. That's fine. I don't mind that because you don't know. You can't see it. You can't tell. But, anyway. But going back to the original question, do you think we'll see any films like that anymore, or is that really just like that was like the sort of death knell for big old-fashioned cinema?
One's paced like that, yeah. I think that it's like somebody turned to Michael Bay and said, "No, this is how you make a proper interesting action movie. You can have your big explosions in it, all right, but you got to give us something else." Okay, it's checks and balances here. It's weighing the film out and making sure it balances. That's your thing, Michael. It's balance. Okay, that's what you got to do. You got to learn. So, I don't. I mean, these days when it comes to big explosions, just people just worry about how big the explosion is, and they don't worry about the makeup to that point. What puts that, what puts the events, how it all comes to that point.
What makes that explosion important?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not the be all and end all of everything. Yes, it's a great showpiece, and it's you're like, Jesus, yes. But it's people don't, that's not their lasting memory of that film. Their lasting memory of that film are things like the relationships the tense moments when they're trying to pull a fast one, so that they can get right up close and personal with this fucking ship and sink it, or should I say, do away with everyone on it, or cripple the ship and then take it back as a prize.
We mean to take her as a prize.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, I don't think these days, unless you get, someone like, someone like Jordan Peele, who's done for horror movies, I can't explain it really. Jordan Peele's kind of reignited some of those old sort of, or he's kind of given a new angle on horror. Right? He does very well with that. I think you need somebody who can do the same for action movies and can do what they did here with this one.
But would you call it an action movie? I mean, this is to anyone. I mean, would you call it an action movie? Because I'd call it like more of a sort of drama, an epic drama.
Well, there is that, yeah.
Epic drama or historical adventure. But action movie, I mean, it's a long way from Red Dawn. Yeah.
Is that your marker for a decent action movie there, Jim?
Wolverine.
No, that's my marker for kind of the floating turd level of most action movies.
Right.
Oh God, yeah.
We are never doing Red Dawn, or at least not until.
Really?
No,
not the old one, the very first one.
No,
the Swayze. No.
Well, I mean, unless one of you lot pick it, but I'm not. I'm never picking that piece of shit.
Wolverines.
Yeah. Oh no, the entire Russian army has been turned back by 6 kids from US college.
The fucking Goonies.
Yeah, by the Goonies.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah. What else? So, I mean, I'm starting to run out of things to discuss about it, because otherwise I'm just going to be me sitting there going, oh, and I love this bit and I love that bit, and that's not really discussing it, is it? I mean, it's just me. I might as well
discuss how I'm right about this.
Let's discuss why I like this film, and anyone else who disagrees with me is wrong. And
they could just go suck it. Yes.
Yeah. But Jim, what about you? Do you think this was like the sort of the last huzzah for old-fashioned epic movies? Or?
Well, no, I think we still get them every now and again, on a semi-regular basis, and I think they might not do well at the box office, but they tend to be better remembered in the long run. And I think this is the kind of film that's kind of ripe for a big boost for people rediscovering it on streaming, to be honest. And I'd say more people will be talking about Master and Commander in 5 years' time than who won the Oscars that year. You know what I mean? Or who won the Oscars fucking this year? Frankly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think people do respond to these sort of films because it's a good story, well told, and it's not trying to beat you over the head with some sort of important message or saying this is a serious film, so sorry, it's going to be boring. You know what I mean? It just tells a good story. It's really just dynamic and interesting, and I think a really good film, it kind of runs the spectrum of emotions, from there are bits that are funny, there's bits that are actually horrifying, the bits that are exciting. And this does it really well, and I think there'll always be people who will try and make these films, and it's a matter really of directors telling studio executives to go fuck themselves.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, give me the money. I'm going to make a film. Bye.
But that's what's stopping other films being like this. It's because they get focus grouped to death. And it's kind of, I mean, we just did Some Like It Hot for Commentary Club, which will be out when I edit it this week. But when I was researching that, there was a great story about Billy Wilder. And one of the first preview test screenings they did, people were walking out. They hated it.
Really?
And Jack Lemmon was like, "Oh, Billy, you know what are we going to do? We have to do reshoots," because he'd already gone over budget and over schedule really badly. But he said, "No, I'm not changing the damn thing.
Yeah,
it's a good movie."
Nice.
And the next test screening, people were standing up and applauding.
Yeah.
You know, stick to your guns. Don't let fucking the tail wag the dog. Because the public doesn't fucking godnab know what it wants. Frankly.
Yeah. Again, you know, as I often hear from Rise of Skywalker, still not seen it.
Really?
Yeah. No, I still ain't seen it. Still not seen it.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. And one day I might do. We might do the sequel trilogy one month when I'm really bored.
Quite ill. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, I know. Terrible. I won't be around for it, but I'll give it to you guys to do, and I'll edit it afterwards. But
I think we'll take a tip out of the Shonky Labs way of doing things. No, we'll just watch Die Hard and then change the names of the characters in that to match all the characters in in Die Hard. So there's Hans Gruber is like the head of this First Order.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for the plucky Jedi John McClane and his mates Al2D2, yeah, who's off at the donut shop.
And
anyway, I have a hot
man,
take about this.
Go on. You have a hot take. Go on, hot take.
I'm going to go. I would love to see more of these movies, but not as TV. I want these as movies. I want these as films.
Oh, yeah.
It's very easy to turn around and say, "Oh, I'll give it to HBO and make 8 episodes of this, and it'll be brilliant." And then you have 2 seasons, 3 seasons. No, I want 2.5-hour movies of this from a couple of books. I don't know the books, but you pick a couple of books and do that. Have 3 or 4. That will be a great collection.
Yeah. Yeah, they've just got to find some way of making it look like it does, but not cost as much as it does.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, all the money's gone to TV now, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, because I was going to say, because the only other thing this one feels like, and I don't know if anyone else has seen it, I think you have, Jim, is the Terror.
Yes, this has a lot of DNA in common with the Terror, and although they're radically different stories.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
At the same time, they're actually very similar because it's all about that kind of the realities of being on a ship and day-to-day life on a ship when you're in the shit. And there's all stuff you've never even thought of, and it's it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. Because I was going to say because the whole thing, as you say, the reality of it is one of those things which I think is quite shocking when you look back on it. It's not like was it Marlon Brando doing his Mutiny on the Bounty, where he's sort of like, they end up on a lovely island with lovely ladies, lovely ladies, or any of this kind of stuff while playing Hawaiian music, even though they're nowhere near Hawaii. But it's the whole thing about like kids being, kids of like 10 and 12 being on board the ship and commanding like old lags, have been on board the ship for like 30 years, and getting their arms sawn off. And, oh, God, that sort of reality element really adds some grit to the whole thing. And, yeah, like you say, Jim, the Terror is a very similar kind of vibe, isn't it? It's that oh, God, I mean, fine, everyone's getting on board the ship and everyone's working together as a crew, but fuck me, I wouldn't do it. Especially not where the Terror ends up, anyway. How did everyone handle the oh dear, I've broken my arm? Well, we've got a fix for that. Let's just go down B&Q. Because that turned my stomach every time I've seen it. I watch it through slitted fingers.
Darren, I want to hear your take on this, since this was your first watch.
What's that of
the arm?
The arm? Oh,
yeah.
That. Yeah. No, that upset me that bit. I wasn't horrified. I was just sad.
Yeah.
Watching that. Yeah, when he got the kid got the arm taken off, it was just quite. Oh, it's very well done. It's quite emotional.
Mm.
You know, just sitting there. I mean, just cause it's like, you know, this kid has done his best.
Mm.
You know, he really wants to do well and impress the captain. And in line of his duties, this has happened to him.
Mm.
And it's just, you see it when Russell Crowe comes to visit him. I think that's the one bit that, he comes to. I think that's one of the things I liked about Russell Crowe's captain, is that if there was a member of his team that were going through something or about to go through something really bad, he actually turns up and in some way he's kind of there for them, you know. And it was
except for the poor bloke with the dime in his head.
Well, yeah, you know, apart from that bit. But no, it's just, you know, it's like, you know, that sort of thing got to him personally, and he comes to see the boy and he's like, I heard you really like reading. That, I think it was after he had the arm removed, wasn't it? He said, I heard you like reading, and he hands him a book, and them two just have that little moment where they talk about Nelson, you know. So
yeah, I mean,
yeah, I like to say it was quite an emotional bit. That was, you know, it was more sad than anything else, you know, because you don't really see anything happening with the arm or anything, so it's not horrific. It's
but
just
you hear it. You hear that.
You do. Yep. But he doesn't. It's not like taking him half an hour to do it. It's like Paul Bettany's doctor is just like straight through. You know.
Oh,
knife through butter.
You know? Bone through butter.
Bone through butter. The pig's Errol. Yeah.
What about you, Jim?
For me, it was one of those kind of like, oh yes, no, because this took me back to a childhood trauma, basically. Of I remember being quite first year juniors. We got a supply teacher in. He was amazing, and he did a big thing about germs,
right?
And he was saying kind of like you've seen pirates with hooks on their hands and legs, and do you know why that is? And shot off by cannon, sir, bitten by sharks. I said, no, they often just got a scratch and they had to come off.
Oh,
you know, because you could get gangrene infection. The whole limb has to go.
Yeah,
and you know, there's no painkillers, and it's kind of you know, you might have a bit of wood to chew. It's like, well, fucking hell, sir. Yeah, give me nightmares for weeks. But that really brought that back. It's kind of, oh god, can you imagine it? You know what I mean? Or kind of. Yeah. But it's also, I mean, it's part of a wider thing that I found sort of not hugely upsetting, but rather distressing in a background way. Is kind of how young some of the midshipmen are, you know what I mean? They're just little kids, you know.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, guess that's the other problem, isn't it? Is that, well, not a problem, but that's the one of the themes throughout. It's that whole thing of there's. I mean, going back to your Kirk and McCoy analogy, Dal. I mean, it's that whole thing of the two sides of the service, and literally there's the humanitarian, science-driven element of the Doctor, and then there's the kind of all business, got to keep everything running or everyone dies of the captain. But then you've got, then in the case of like Master and Commander, you've got them both trying to put influence over this boy. They're almost like sort of trying their own ways to sort of pull him from one side to the other. You know, there's Jack. You know, Jack going, I knew Napoleon. He was very good at this, and I knew Nelson, and I saw him. I had the joy of serving with him, and all this sort of thing. And trying to instill the kid with a sort of bravado. And then there's, you know, on the other side, you've got Stephen, who's kind of doing all that kind of, no, understand what the world is. There's more than just duty and everything. You have to understand there's creation and there's science and there's curiosity and all these things. And I thought that was nice little extra sort of subplot in there, sort of like, you know, almost fighting for this kid's soul by the end. But yeah, but that was quite cool. But yeah, I'm waffling again. Right. Does anyone have any extra things they want to bring up? Because I'm obviously I've just dribbling on. But you know, has anybody got anything they want to bring up? Anything I want to talk about the film, or shall we move on?
I've got a couple of things to rattle through. If you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. That's what I'm asking.
Okay. The operation on the deck, I really enjoyed, because you had all the crew just fascinated as to what was going on, and then you got someone whittling a coin in the shape, almost spitting on it, going, "Yep, that'll be clean enough. That'll be all right. Don't worry about it."
Yep.
But
yeah.
I found that fantastic. Also, very bizarre that they're after this ship, and I like the way that it's like a cat and mouse through the fog, and you can just about barely see something, possibly not. And then you see the firing in the distance.
Yeah.
It must be about, what would you say, about a mile, maybe a bit closer?
Oh,
and it rips the boat to shreds, splinters everywhere, and it showed you the danger of the splinters as well. But then, when they do that little trick where they get off the boat and make that fake boat with all the lanterns on, and then there's a shot of the captain looking at this other ship, almost on top of this little lantern thing, firing it, and it's not killing it. And you're like, well, you've shot this thing from a mile and hit it directly, and now you're having trouble at shooting this little lantern thing.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, yeah. I know it thinks it's another boat and it's trying to go across its bows and maybe take it out, but it's not quite accomplishing that, is it?
No, I mean, it's as far as that ruse goes, I think the idea is that they don't know if they are hitting him because they're still so far away and they're shooting at the lanterns, and they don't know if the shots are going wide. They don't know if it's falling short, or if it's just hitting, because it is so dark. Yeah. So to me, it didn't seem such a big deal that they chased after it for as long as they did. But
and that comes from real life as well, doesn't it? That sort of maneuver as well.
I honestly don't know. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine there's got to be a basis in reality, because fucking where would it come from?
I think the captain. I don't know. I did a very brief research this afternoon. I was like, oh, hang on. I don't know anything about this, so I better dive into stuff. And there is a tale of, I'm not too sure if it's Albury that is based on, but there was a captain who used that ruse to get away from a ship that was tailing him, which was like 4 times the size of him.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's one of those things where it's... it feels genuine. It feels like one of those crazy things that feels so clearly something must be in the history books for that, because but I think the one thing that lets it down in terms of when it's filmed is they still have to film you seeing the characters. You still have to see them. So they're still filmed in some weird unearthly light from a camera 60 feet off the bow. And he's like, No, if it was really as dark as they say, so it can fool a boat, by just having 3 lights floating in the sea, then you wouldn't see anything. You
Of
wouldn't
course
see.
not, no.
You'd see fuck all of fuck all, and that's and you just be hearing sort of Aubrey going, "Pull him in, pull him in."
If there's no moonlight, then you've got no light there, have you, at all?
No,
You've got no searchlights or anything like that.
No, you got nothing. So that's why it makes sense that it worked. It just, I think it was, it makes sense that it was, it would work. But I think the reason it kind of doesn't work in terms of cinema is because you're sitting there looking at them in what appears to be daylight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's like, well, we can see them. Why can't they see the ship?
Yeah, yeah. And the final thing, I like it feeling so claustrophobic, but it does it really well in the very first shot where you see all the hammocks and all the bums just knocking together. It's like dangleberries on a sheet. It's all very close quarters. And then you get that story about, well, when you die, you have like a stitch put through your nose just to make sure you're not dead. It's like, it is so close, and you're straight on that boat. I think it's done so well.
Yeah, I liked all of that, especially when you go into the sort of like the firing deck of the ship with the cannons, and they're all they're sort of taking the wheels off, and you think, well, once they fire, they're going to leap backwards, and it's all those fucking heavy cannons flying backwards, and it's like, oh god, yeah. Jesus.
And they never really show anyone on the other ship either, do they? It's just a force of nature in itself.
Yeah. Well, again, that's to keep the whole thing isolated, isn't it? Because if you suddenly feel like, oh, there's actually another captain and there's another thing,
from their perspective, then
But I like that, that whole sort of like they are completely alone, and it's just the wits of the people on board that ship that are fighting something they can't stop or can't understand. Like Darren said, that big fucking boat outguns them like 20-1, and its hull is like 3 times thicker, and it's infinitely faster, and it was just really it's really good when you suddenly see when you suddenly see all these things, you suddenly think, oh, they're really in there, really in the ship, but bit of guile and planning, and it's like, oh, look, they've done it, they've caught them, woohoo!
Yeah, so good. I want more. I want more of these.
I do. I'd love to see another one, at least. But
can I just say, by the way, before I forget, there's one character in it that I had a chuckle at every time he appeared on screen, because he was always moaning about stuff, and that was the chef.
Oh yes,
him.
Save the silver.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't drop the silver. So what are you going to do with that, when your fucking boat sinks, you idiot?
What was it? Was he? They were going to stain the table or something. He goes, "Not on the tablecloth."
Yeah. It was just, oh, he's going to start playing his bloody violin now.
Kurt Russell learnt the violin for this.
Who?
Kurt Russell.
Did
he learnt the violin for this film.
Kurt Russell did he?
Kurt Russell. No, Kurt Russell didn't. Sorry. Russell Crowe.
It really pissed him off when he didn't get the part. He's like, but I've done all this.
God, that would piss you off, wouldn't it? Sorry.
Oh, man.
You know what I meant, you bastards.
I bought a course from Unity, and I was on there, and oh, that's $19.99 off a voucher that I'm never going to get back again.
Oh,
screw you guys.
Yeah, he was too busy. He was too busy getting ready to play in the movie Sky High. I mean, which where he had to be a superhero. I think playing violin might have been a bit of a problem, to be honest.
Well, that was going to be one of his powers in the film, the art of being able to play a violin. But of course, it got dropped. From.
I hate you guys.
I love that. I love that ode to spring that he played in The Thing. That was really good. That was really good.
Stop it.
So, you mean Russell Crowe learned to play the violin?
I don't care now. I wish he hadn't fucking learnt it. Every time we do a Kurt Russell, where's his violin? Isn't it? Yeah, okay.
Well, next week, Jim's going to be picking Kurt Russell's Gladiator. Russell Crowe in Escape from LA. Oh dear. Right. Well, on that note. Oh dear.
I thought Kurt Russell was really good in Man of Steel.
He was. He was. Kurt Russell was Jor-El. Yeah. Proper follow up to Sir Marlon Brando. I thought proper.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Though you know what I thought Russell Crowe in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was pretty good.
His ego. Oh yeah.
When he played Elvis right in his early stages of his career, that was amazing.
Fucking bastard.
When he played Wyatt Earp in Tombstone, he was great in that.
Or what about, right, okay, Russell Crowe when he joined up with Goldie Hawn in Overboard. I mean, God, the man's got comic timing.
And he?
Yeah. And let's not forget his breakout role in Big Trouble in Little China as well. Right?
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, Kurt Russell's Gladiator was my favourite personally, but you know. Oh, there you go. Brilliant. Well, anyone got anything else to add?
No.
No, that's it. We're done.
Yeah. Wasn't Paul Bettany in Just Good Friends? Okay, right. Anyway, so that's Master and Commander. I think we all liked it. I think it's safe to say. Although Kurt Russell wasn't a fan, I've heard. After not getting the job, spending all that time and money on violin lessons. He even learned to sail a boat.
Yeah.
What? Anyway. Fucking Russell Crowe and Captain Ron.
Goldie Hawn just next door going, would you shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
He's going, well, I'm gonna be a captain on a boat.
What do you say, lads? We're gonna be a captain. Ahoy! So, what the fuck? That was my worst Kurt Russell impression ever. Right. Well, I think we'll leave it there. If anybody's got any feedback on Master and Commander, or want to bring up any points that we completely missed because we were too busy mixing Kurt Russell and Russell Crowe up, then by all means send it in to Facebook. Oh God, I've lost it completely now.
Send it somewhere.
Oh,
send it
not so
somewhere.
Easy, is it? No, there you go.
No, send it in to Russell Crowe at kurtrussell.com. No, send it into feedback at blackdogpodcast.com.
Next week we'll be having Russell Grant in the
Russell Grant telling the story of Foster Grant, who did famous I don't know, sunglasses in the 70s. Right. Anyway, let's just leave it there. So, time to move on. Jim, I believe it's your choice. I did done spring it on you, so I hope you.
No, I was prepared.
You was prepared.
I was prepared.
That's good. That's good. I'm so used to
change, doesn't it?
Well, I was going to say it does. It does make a change from Darren suddenly leaping onto Netflix 5 seconds before we go. So, Darren, what have you picked?
I've already got my film picked out for the next one. So that's it. Yeah.
Oh, right. You've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Right.
Yeah, indeed.
Okie dokie. Well, Jim, it's up to you, mate. You're up, sir. What have you got for us?
Well, hang on, just double check. It's not vanished since picking it.
Okay.
No, it's still there.
Russell Crowe's Stargate.
No. Don't tempt me. You very nearly got the final countdown.
Oh, God.
No. This is a movie, when I was growing up, it was always mentioned on lists of best classic sci-fi movies, and it never came on the telly.
Ooh, okay.
And years later, I discovered that was because the rights got tangled up.
Okay.
And so it was kind of like legally lost, and no one could show it or own it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually as a screenplay by H.G. Wells.
Okay.
And it's from 1936, and it's a film called Things to Come.
Oh.
Based on Wells' book, The Shape of Things to Come.
Right.
And I'll say again, 1936, and it is, I'd not seen it, and I was looking at what's new on Amazon the other week, and it's like, my God, there it is.
The 1936 Things to Come. Oh, my word.
Yeah. There's a 70s, The Shape of Things to Come, which is a very different kettle of tat, believe you me. However, this, I mean, basically, it's set in an alternative timeline. I said 1936, but it predicts another world war and a global pandemic.
Right. Okay.
Well, it's a very, very interesting movie. I would say it's probably like the British Metropolis. It's a bit thinky. It's not, but you should watch it. Just remind yourself. This was 1936. People were coming up with this stuff, and it's damn on the nose.
Okie dokie.
Very, very interesting movie.
Okay.
I think we'll have a very interesting discussion because there's a lot in this film. It's
cool.
But don't expect some sort of Flash Gordon adventure because it's sci-fi from the 30s. You're getting something far more cerebral and a bit more sort of weirdly like alternative documentary almost of kind of a glimpse into the future.
Okay, well, I'm very curious about this because this is, as you say, this is one of those ones that has come up in the sort of like greatest science fiction movies of all time sort of thing, and I've never seen it. So I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of interested. So you haven't seen it either.
No, I ain't.
No? Okay. Elton?
No.
You never know. You never know. You have to ask. I mean, I think we all knew the answer in our heart of hearts, but I had to ask. Blimey, it's got Ralph Richardson in it, for goodness sake. Blimey.
What?
Yeah, Ralph Richardson as Rudolph, a.k.a. the boss. Right. Okay. Well, there's apparently the film lapsed into public domain and there's been all sorts of issues with it. Okay. Right. Well, I tell you what.
The print on Amazon is really nice as well.
Oh, right. Okie dokie.
Looks really good.
Well, I'm very curious about this because they've also got the other thing they got a few months back was the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari as well, which I was kind of like, ooh. But I've never seen before either. Okay, well, there you go. That's going to be a real interesting one, I think. Certainly. I'm just really hoping we can get over the fact that it's in 1936. Because that's always the problem with these things. And it goes, in the far future of 1972, we will have silver suits and spaceships.
Well, the thing is, it actually starts in, 1936, and then the story moves forward through time.
Okay.
It's very, very interesting, and you end up like in the far future.
Right.
But I think, but in a way that's there are a lot of important questions asked.
Okay.
And a very interesting vision of where things could go.
Okay. Right, because apparently it qualifies as the first true masterpiece of science fiction cinema. Right.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
apparently.
okay.
There you go. So, we shall see. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The H.G. Wells' Things to Come, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. If anybody's got any thoughts on it, by all means, send them in to Facebook, facebook.com/group/The Black Dog Podcast, or feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or on Twitter, which is @blackdogpodcast. Right. And now it's time for Pimp's Corner. And we shall pimp everyone else's podcasts on here going forward. So, Jim, do you want to tell us all about what's going on in the Hypnagoria land?
Yes, as alluded to earlier, I will have an episode of I'm intrigued to do a coming for Some Like It Hot. Mm-hmm. And over at Hypnagoria, I've just released a little show about the history of the horror novel and why it suddenly exploded in the 1980s. Mm-hmm. And my reading show from the Great Library of Dreams, I've read a story called The Underbody. It's probably the nastiest story I've ever done.
Oh, right, okay.
It's been called Genuinely Upsetting by some listeners. So there you go.
Now, that's the question. If for a horror podcast or a weird fantasy podcast, is something being called genuinely upsetting a plus or a minus?
I take it as a plus.
I would too, but I'm just going to ask. Okay, cool. And that's all over at hypnagoria.com, yeah?
It is indeed.
Brilliant. And over at rogue2media.com, what we got going on, Elton?
Trying to think now. I haven't done any Chunky Labs. I know there's some Grand Prix stuff coming out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just go over there and you'll find that stuff. I haven't really got anything to pimp out just yet.
No? Okie dokie. Fair enough. And Darren, you ain't appearing on anything apart from Crime Watch?
Wanted posters, yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Bailiff orders, that sort of thing, Yeah, that's me.
Lovely. Right, okay, well, there you go then. Okay, well then, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And thank you all for listening, and we shall see you all next week for a proper, genuine, dyed-in-the-wall, according to everyone and their dog, sci-fi classic. H.G. Wells' Things to Come. So until then, take care, stay safe, don't look at the sunrise if it happens at 9 p.m. at night, and we'll see you all next week. Until then, take care, tatty bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.